Hey there, and welcome. Have you ever wished there was a simple way to make hard things, well, feel easier? Today, we're going to talk about exactly that. It's a method for training your brain to stop fighting you and start doing. We're going to call it the Lotus Method, inspired by the amazing lotus flower. You know that feeling, right? When you're just stuck in the mud. You have every intention of being disciplined, of getting things done. You've got the to-do list. You know exactly what the next step is, but for some reason, you just can't seem to start. It feels like your own brain is pulling you back, keeping you stuck in that cozy spot of doing nothing. All right, so let's get into it. Part 1, stuck in the mud. We need to figure out why this happens. Why do we get caught in that loop of putting things off and getting distracted, even when we really, really want to get started?
I mean, these things are just so common, aren't they? Hitting the snooze button over and over, even though you promised yourself you'd get up early. Or, mindlessly scrolling on your phone when that big work project is just sitting there. And then, at the end of the day, that kind of disappointing feeling creeps in. If any of this sounds familiar, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not lazy.
See, the problem isn't really you. It's your brain's old-school programming. For thousands and thousands of years, your brain's number one job was simple: keep you safe. And that meant avoiding anything that was difficult or new. Because, back in the day, that could mean, well, lions. Our goals today, like learning a new skill or hitting the gym, are pretty new in the grand scheme of things. But our brain, it's still running on that ancient survival-first software.
There's actually a great name for this. In some philosophies, they call it the monkey mind. And it's a perfect description, isn't it? It's that restless, jumpy part of your brain that swings from one thought to another, constantly on the hunt for comfort and trying to avoid anything that feels like hard work. Yeah, that's the voice whispering, don't worry about it, we'll start tomorrow.
So what do we do? How do we work with this monkey mind instead of constantly battling it? Well, this is where our Lotus Method really starts. We're moving on to part 2, planting one small seed. Instead of trying to run away from that feeling of being stuck, we're going to do something different. We're going to plant one tiny seed right there in the mud. It all begins with one small, deliberate step.
And this whole process kicks off with just 2 super simple steps. Seriously, that's it. The first one is all about noticing what's going on, and the second one is about taking a tiny bit of action. Let's break them down.
So step 1 is to spot the trick. The key here isn't to fight that feeling, but just to notice it. It's pretty cool, actually. Studies show that when you simply label that thought, when you say to yourself, there's my brain trying to put things off again, it actually activates the logical part of your brain. It's like you're calmly taking the steering wheel back from that frantic monkey mind.
Okay, and now for step 2, slice the task. The idea is to make the first step so easy, it's almost ridiculous. Instead of staring up at this huge mountain you have to climb, you just focus on one tiny little pebble at the bottom. Make it so small that your brain's alarm system doesn't even go off. Some people call this a gateway task, and it's a real game changer.
So here's what that looks like in real life. Instead of the big scary thought, I have to go to the gym, you just tell yourself, I'll just put on my shoes. That's it. Instead of, I have to finish this whole project, it becomes, I'll just open the document. See the difference? You're not committing to the whole thing, just the tiny, non-threatening first step. And what's amazing is that once you take that first step, momentum has a funny way of taking over.
Okay, so once you've planted that seed with a small action, it's time for part 3, growing toward the light. This is all about growing a strong stem of focus. It's how we train our minds to slice through all that murky water of distraction and keep moving toward our goal.
And you know what the foundation of all that focus is? Stillness. I mean, think about it. We live in a world that's just buzzing with notifications and noise. A calm mind has become a legitimate superpower. It's kind of like a lake, right? When it's windy, the water is all choppy and you can't see anything. But when the wind dies down, the water becomes perfectly clear. And you can practice this with just 5 or 10 minutes a day. That's it. No phone, no music, no distractions. Just sit. Quietly. Now, I'll be honest, your mind is probably going to scream at you at first. That is totally normal. But if you stick with it, you'll start to notice that chaos settling down. This isn't some complex meditation thing. It's just a simple workout for your attention muscle. Once your mind is a little calmer, you can start directing your energy with real precision. Think about it like this. One target, full power.
An ancient samurai didn't mess around with 1,000 different moves. Nope, they perfected one single powerful strike. And in our modern world, with a million tabs open, we can learn a lot from that kind of focus.
And this is where the magic of single tasking comes in. Just pick one important thing you need to do and give it, say, 25 to 50 minutes of your complete, undivided attention. That means no switching tabs, no checking your phone, nothing. It's wild, but you'll probably find that even 1 hour of that deep focused work is more productive than a whole day of juggling a bunch of tasks at once.
All right, so we've planted the seed, we've grown the stem, and now we get to the best part. Part 4, the art of the bloom. But here's the thing about the bloom. You can't force it. It's just the natural result of patience, of sticking with it, and of making a really important shift in how you see yourself.
I mean, the whole journey of a lotus is just a perfect picture of our own growth, isn't it? You have to start in the mud. That's the resistance. Then you plant the seed with one small action. You grow the stem with focus, and then you have to wait for the bloom. You have to be patient. Real lasting change just doesn't happen in a day.
And that brings us to maybe the hardest but most crucial ingredient of all: patience. Look, in the beginning, it's going to feel like nothing is happening. It's going to feel invisible. But just like that lotus stem growing quietly underwater, the most important work is often happening where you can't see it. You just have to trust the process. Trust that all those small, consistent things you're doing are adding up, even when you don't see the results right away. And here's the last piece of the puzzle. It's a really powerful shift in your mindset. Instead of telling yourself you're trying to be disciplined, you start seeing yourself as a disciplined person. It's a small change in words, but it's huge. So you don't say, I'm trying to work out. You say, I am someone who trains. When you start to believe that's who you are, your actions just naturally start to fall in line. It's almost automatic. So, as we wrap this up, the real question is, what are you going to do now? Because it's not enough to just understand this stuff, right? You have to actually use it. So take a second and think about it right now. What is one hard thing that you've been putting off? And remember, you don't need some perfect, elaborate plan. You don't need a massive surge of motivation to get started. You just need one small action, one small rise. A lotus doesn't rush things, it just grows. Slowly, quietly, but it keeps going. Your brain isn't your enemy, it just needs a little bit of guidance. So start with that one small rise. Really, that's all it takes to begin.